Hidden from 2015 is not to be confused with the excellent The Hidden from 1987, starring Kyle MacLachlan. Hidden from 2015 stars Andrea Riseborough and Alexander Skarsgård in a post-apocalyptic, post-pandemic film directed by the Duffer Brothers. So this is before Stranger Things came out by a year, and it has all the ingredients for a cool-ass movie. Unfortunately, it really falls short, and in fact, it's a really bad movie, and it's one of the worst movies I've seen in a while, despite all these great ingredients. So the movie involves a pandemic breakout where our main characters find their way into an underground shelter, and they are hiding from the breathers. And it's not clear what the breathers are until towards the end of the film. And there is a little bit of a twist, but by then you're not really bought in. So what makes this kind of hard to swallow as a concept and as a film is the way these characters act amongst each other and in the world. They do things that make no sense. So for example, they realize that their food stores are being infiltrated by pests. How do they realize that? Not when they pick the can off the shelf and put it on the table and realize it's empty. They discover it when they realize there's a hole in the can, which makes no sense because it's a big can. Also, there's an element of they have to be quiet while they're in this shelter, and the daughter, the young girl character, has a talking doll, like a pull string doll. And there's this one scene that's supposed to be very suspenseful where the pull string is caught on something and they're trying to be quiet, so you don't want the pull string to fall off. And I was just screaming at the screen, like, pinch the string, keep the string pulled out. Like, everybody knows how these dolls work. But no, they had to make a big deal about the string getting released and the doll starting to make noise. So again, this movie had all the ingredients for success, and it just fell flat on its face. The next movie, however, does not. A Cult Is My Passport, directed by Takashi Nomura. This is a Nikatsu film. Stars Joe Shishido, who you may know from Branded to Kill. This movie bears a lot of similarities to a movie I reviewed a couple weeks ago called Sun Above, Death Below, which was about pretty much the same thing. A hitman who gets double-crossed by both sides of the fence that he's working for. I guess the dynamic that's different in this one is that our main character has a partner who is a major character in the plot, but you have a love interest, you have double crosses. It's a very, very similar movie. Now, I gave Sun Above, Death Below 5 stars. I'm giving A Cult Is My Passport 4.5, just because there's some gun stuff in here that makes no sense whatsoever, and I'm a little bit of a gun nerd, so I gotta ding it a half a point for that. But it is an excellent movie, and it ranks highly amongst Yakuza films and Japanese action and hitman stuff. It was great. Next, we have a rare Clarence Ford movie called Thunder Cop, and I got this off Twitter from Times Square Kung Fu, who apparently ripped it from the Laserdisc. When I looked on Letterboxd, there are very few people who have seen this movie, so I guess I'm in rare company. The movie is about a undercover-ish cop who befriends a crime guy who's trying to go straight. I gotta be honest, the plot is a little bit convoluted, and it didn't help that the subtitles, though I'm grateful they were there, because a lot of stuff that floats around Twitter, all these rare films, don't have subtitles. So it's cool to be able to watch them, but it will be hard to understand what's going on. This one has hard-coded Chinese and English subtitles throughout the movie. However, there's a few problems with them. Number one, the English subtitles are in very broken English. Number two, they get washed out if there's any brightness on the screen or white on the screen. You can't read the subtitles. And thirdly, this isn't a major deal, but anytime a character has an inner monologue, there's no subtitles. So I got the gist of what was going on. It was a fun, fine story for a Hong Kong movie, and I didn't regret watching it at all. But it wasn't some kind of slam dunk like hidden gem. I can't believe more people can't watch this or haven't been able to watch this, but I appreciate Times Square Kung Fu for everything that he does, and I'm grateful that I did get to check this out. Next, we have the Evil Dead remake from 2013, and boy, this movie blew me away. I was worried that it wouldn't live up to the hype, and in some ways it didn't, but I'm not a fan of the original trilogy, if you will. I have a lot of friends who really, really enjoy those movies, but I never really got into them. I get why people like them, but they're just not for me. So I was hesitant to see this remake because I didn't even like the source material. However, I watched this online and it was an instant Blu-ray purchase, so I can't wait to get that so I can watch it with the commentary. This is a story about demon possession within a cabin in the woods, and the layers that they added as far as our main character is trying to detox and they're having an intervention to get her off drugs. I thought that was a great layer of not so subtle metaphor for addiction being a form of demon possession. And the real takeaway from this whole movie is Jane Levy's performance. And as I was watching it, I said, what have I seen her in? And it turns out I was remembering Don't Breathe, which is another Jane Levy film and another Fede Alvarez film. She really left it all on the field for this movie, and I can't wait to watch it again, even though while I was watching it, it really made me squirm, and I did watch the uncut version, so I don't know what was added to it or left in, but holy crap, there's some really great gore and crazy imagery that they did. They really went for all the flames and the blood and the power tools and all that stuff. So I'm glad I finally checked it out. Next, we have Summer Vacation 1999, a movie from 1988. So it has some retro futurism in it. It's a subtle form of it, but there's some technology that I think is very creatively done. It's a story about 4 school-age boys who are actually played by female actresses going on a summer vacation where there's kind of an unrequited love situation where one of the boys has committed suicide but then mysteriously reappears and assumes a different name and identity. So there's a bit of a mystery and a good level of intrigue for a movie that is actually pretty slow and relaxing and beautiful as you go through it. Now, this is very highly rated by some people. In fact, the reason it was on my radar is because somebody who I follow on Twitter, who I can't remember at this point, ranked it as his or her favorite movie of all time. So I thought I would really like to see this. And I'm glad I did, but I don't think it really resonated with me the way it does with some people. I thought it was an interesting choice to use female actresses to play these 4 boys because it gives the film a really androgynous and gender non-specific feel. So I thought the whole thing was very interesting, and I'm glad I watched it, but it's definitely not going to end up being one of my favorites of all time. Next, we have Carnival Night, and boy, this movie was absolutely delightful. I can't believe a movie from behind the Iron Curtain could be so heartwarming and joyful. This musical comedy from the post-Stalin era stars Lyudmila Gurchenko as Lena and Yuri Belov as Grisha. Lena is trying to organize a New Year's party, and Grisha is helping her out. They form the romantic comedy element of this movie, but the plot revolves around a bureaucrat who is trying to sand off any kind of fun off the surface of what Lena and Grisha are planning. The movie is extremely funny and has some amazing musical numbers and performances from the cast. And the film left me feeling happy. And I know that sounds funny, but it's rare that I watch a movie and I'm just smiling the whole time. And when it's over, I think that movie made me so happy. I must say the highlight of this film is the performance of Lyudmila Gurchenko as Lena, following her through this movie as she tries to organize the party, and at the end she has a couple wonderful musical numbers with dancing and just beautiful coordination, wonderful visuals on the screen. I can't speak highly enough of this movie, and I think it's amazing that you can just go on YouTube and watch this movie. In fact, I would recommend everybody go check out and subscribe to the Moss Film YouTube channel. There's a bunch of other great stuff on there, like the movie V that I reviewed a couple weeks ago, on there with hard-coded English subtitles, and they have other languages as well. And from what I've seen so far, they're all ad-free, so you don't have to worry about the movie being interrupted by commercials while you're watching it. But this is definitely my movie of the week, Carnival Night. I actually can't wait to watch it again, and it's only an hour and 15 minutes long. Lastly, I watched The Assessment this morning. This movie came out last year and stars Elizabeth Olsen and Alicia Vikander, as well as Himesh Patel. It's a sci-fi film set in a far-flung future where the environment has gotten so bad that you need to seek approval from the government to have children. So you have an assessor sent to your house to stay with you for 7 days and perform kind of an evaluation of your fitness to become parents. This movie was quite good, and what makes it good is that our assessor, played by Alicia Vikander, is really devious and makes every situation super uncomfortable, and you have to watch our couple just deal with her for these 7 days. But what I really liked about the film is even after those 7 days, you see a broader picture of the sci-fi world that the creators have laid out for us, and maybe the final 15 or 20 minutes of the film, it goes bigger picture than the first big chunk of the film. And I really appreciated that they managed to stick the landing with all of that stuff. This is a relatively new movie, and it's going around the zeitgeist on Twitter and YouTube, so I figured I'd have to check it out, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I appreciate all the new subscribers, and I'll see you on the next one.